I mean, obviously things can happen whenever, but my guess is we're going to know what this team's going to look like for the most part in the next 2 or 3 days, give or take. So it's going to be an interesting little time here. And the monkey was thrown into the wrench last night. The wrench, or vice versa, with Collison retiring.
Pick that monkey up, throw him right into the wrench there.
Yeah, throw him right into that wrench. Yeah. The monkey threw the wrench into things, I guess is what you say, with Collison retiring. But I'm not positive he was going to be back anyway. And I don't think he was going to be back in the starting role. Again, if you believe what you read, and who knows what's true, that's the one thing I will leave you with this time of year. And I've learned this many different ways in my time in Indianapolis media, but you never know who's putting information out there. It could be an agent. Mm-hmm. It could be another GM. It could be the GM of the team you root for. It could be a reporter trying to get a name for himself. You just don't know who's putting information out there. So this Rubio stuff could be completely true, or it can be completely wild, and the Pacers aren't even considering him. So it's just, you just don't know until you know. And really, the guy that I would be waiting for is Wojnarowski. So if you see a Woj bomb with the Pacers on it tonight or tomorrow, then you can probably take that to the bank.
Woj bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Matthew, you have yourself a good weekend, sir. We'll catch up with you on the other side. All right, buddy.
That sounds great. Thanks, man.
Matt Hicks joins us, talking us a little homeward cars, just bringing us into the homeward bound, if you will. 917-898-8516 is our digits. We're supposed to be joined here in a few moments by Tony Donahue of the Tony D Podcast. Maybe we'll have a sighting of Mo for the BS Sports Show. He said his flight got delayed. We'll see what happens. My name's Tom Marquis. We got 30 minutes left. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Money ain't shit. Ooh, ooh. We too fresh. Got to blame it on Jesus. Hashtag blessed. They ain't ready for me. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket. Keep up. Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be jocking. Keep up. Players only. Come on, put your pinky ring up to the moon. Girl, what y'all trying to do? What you trying to do? 24 carats magic in the air. Hit the toe so clear. Look out.
The Air National Guard is a reserve component of the United States Air Force and serves alongside active-duty Air Force members in times of a national crisis. In addition, the Air Guard serves the state and local community in a wide range of capacities. The reason people join the Air Guard is as diverse as our members and includes such reasons as a deep desire to serve their country, money for college, travel, new job skills, and the pride that goes along with belonging to the greatest military organization in the world. I joined because I felt a calling to serve my country, but I didn't want to be far away from my family, so the Indiana Air National Guard was a perfect fit for me. With over 95 different career opportunities to choose from and 100% paid college tuition to any state-funded college, why not give us a call? Call 1-800-841-3103 or visit online at goang.com to find out more. Again, that's 1-800-841-3103. The Air National Guard, guarding America, defending freedom.
It's double trouble, double the fun at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. See the largest antelope on Earth, the giant eland, and the ugliest creature on Earth, the African warthog. There's so much to see and do, including the Midwest's only drive-through safari. Feed the animals, see live educational shows, feel the excitement, have your picture taken with a python or cockatoo, feel the adventure. Shop the Symbol Lodge gift shop with items available from around the globe. Visit the snack bar or picnic facilities. Enjoy a pony or camel ride. Or cheer your favorite porker on to victory in the famous Pork Chop Down. Bring your family to see the rare and exotic animals at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. Just take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the sign. Only 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
All right, welcome back to the balance. We've got 30 minutes left. We've got 90 minutes in the can. Thank you to Matthew Embury, our official IndyCar contributor, splitting duty with us with the U.S. Senior Open up there in South Bend. Obviously, calling us from WSBT up there, our official IndyCar contributor. And Steve Wilson's editor-in-chief of SpeedwayDigest.com calls us from down in Virginia, talking about NASCAR rolling off in Chicagoland. And we just got off the phone with our good friend Matt Hicks, been around the Indianapolis media for a long time, playing the Homer card with me with Pacers, and talking about what's going on with some free agency. But joining us now, a surprise, is Mo from the BS Sports Show and Tony Donahue from the Tony D podcast. And Mo was not going to join us. He was supposed to be on a flight to Denver, but it got delayed a little bit. So he's like, hey, I'll come. I miss you guys. I really want to talk with you. Mo, how are you, sir?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Fantastic. Tony, how are you, sir?
Great. Good morning. How's it going?
Fantastic. Guys, I know we're all kind of Indiana folks. We're spread out all over the place. I know this is a national show, so we'll play this Homer card just a little bit longer. We'll start with you, Mo. And over the next 48 hours, we're going to see either a new Pacers team or status quo. What are your thoughts, Mo?
Well, I mean, if you look at the past, there's never usually, really big free agent moves made by the Pacers at this point in the season. There are a lot more. They tend to, sign guys who have been waived that help their team. The retirement of Darren Collison last night, I think, caught people by surprise. I think Kevin Pritchard realized, though, that he probably wasn't going to come back to the Pacers anyway. There's been talk of D'Angelo Russell. I don't know that maybe that's the best fit for the Pacers. I think the Pacers have to do something to put more scoring around Victor Oladipo, especially if Bogdanovic is no longer going to be there. So it feels like with drafting this big guy that maybe one of our other bigs could be on the move. So Kevin Pritchard normally not super active in this free agency period, but I think this year he's going to have to make some moves.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tony, we've got to get a point guard. And, we look at people that might be available out there, and one of the names, the buzzwords names that are flying around is Ricky Rubio, of course, Patrick Beverley, and George Hill. Maybe in the short term, especially if you think Holiday is going to fill that role later on down the road. Tony, what are your thoughts?
I think George Hill just has Lakers written all over him, doesn't he? Goes back and joins LeBron James to try to win a championship. I could just see that. I think Ricky Rubio is probably going to be, obviously, with the Pacers' target, maybe Eric Gordon in a trade. But as Mo mentioned, this is not a place where those A and those B list free agent names come to. I mean, the Pacers have had to scrap for the C and the D list. You think about the best free agent signing for the Pacers ever is probably David West, who was coming off of a surgery, and we didn't really know what he had. I would love to see them go after Brogdon from Milwaukee, but even him I don't think is going to be interested in coming here. This is just not an NBA destination city for free agents. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we don't have mountains and we don't have water. It's a great franchise to play under. You never heard anybody say, "Oh man, I didn't enjoy my time in Indianapolis." But you got to start looking at, okay, they're going to have to get scoring like you said, but who's they going to be? Is it going to be a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope? Is it going to be a Harrison Barnes? Some guy who you could just see it now. Well, he was a high draft pick and he didn't work out in certain situations, but we brought him in here because he still got tread on the tires, and we think that he can put up some points. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. If they sign Bogey, they'll go after Ricky Rubio. If they don't sign Bogey back and Bogey gets a qualifying offer, he could, I could see a major team, a team that's in contention going after Bogey, maybe Oklahoma City, that needs a little bit more scoring, and throwing him an offer that he can't refuse, and the Pacers won't be able to match. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't have big expectations. I mean, you got to make a run at these guys and just try, but I think it was either D'Angelo Russell or somebody else that they're not even, the Pacers aren't even on their radar. So it stinks as a Pacers fan. It stinks being here in Indianapolis, but we'll see what they can piece together to maybe get some scores in here.
Well, you made a valid point, and I heard that Greg Doyle yesterday on a local show yesterday afternoon, just talking about, hey, the reality is that Indiana is a Midwestern town. We don't have water, and we're a red state. Now, I don't know how deep politics go into the thinking, oh, I'm not going to play for a team. But if they can put something together, Mo, and win 64 games, I think it doesn't really matter if we have mountains, waters, or if we're a red, blue, or a yellow state. We're going to get players. We got to get to that. We got to get to where's that mark at? Is it 64 wins? People start saying, okay, I'll start paying attention to the Pacers, Mo.
I'm not sure where the mark is. The problem is, I think, for the Pacers is that everybody in the NBA now wants to be their own brand, and unless you're a guy who's a superstar like Zion coming out of college, where he's going to be his own brand no matter where he goes, NBA guys are worrying about being a brand, being their brand. And I feel like a lot of guys don't feel like they can do that in Indianapolis, like they don't feel like they can do that in some of these other smaller markets. So I think that's the one thing that hurts the Pacers more than anything is just the fact that guys want to be where they feel they can be the most marketable for themselves. They want to be in the LAs, in the New Yorks. You got guys talking about going to New York, guys like Kevin Durant or Kyrie going to New York. That team's terrible. That franchise is run terribly by James Dolan. But guys know that they're going to be even more marketable being in New York City. So the one thing that hurts the Pacers more than anything, I don't think it's wins, coaching, franchise, anything like that. It's just geography. So the Pacers are going to have to be a team that can continue to build either through trade, like they did when they traded Paul George and got the opponents in Victor Oladipo, or guys are going to be built through the draft, like we did with guys like Danny Granger and Paul George. We're going to have to build through the draft and through trade in order to be a championship contender.
Let's talk a little bit, go back onto the national scene, if you will, since we are a national show. We don't want to lose all of our listeners. We're talking about the Homer cards, if you will. But Tony, let's talk a little bit about free agency getting underway this weekend. Let's talk about some of the big names and the people are talking about. Derrick Rose obviously enjoyed a little bit of a renaissance this past season. I think he's from Chicago. A lot of people think he's going to end up in Philadelphia. Derrick Rose, what are your thoughts, Tony?
Yeah, there's a lot of dominoes to fall, and you look at Sunday. Make sure your Woj notifications are turned on so you don't get duped by a fake Adrian Wojnarowski account. I think Rose would fit in Philadelphia just because Ben Simmons can play the 1, the 2, maybe even the 3 if they had to. They can move him over, and if they're expecting to lose Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, they're going to have to find some scoring because we know Ben Simmons can assist the ball and can rebound, but sometimes he struggles with scoring. Joel Embiid can get you points when he plays. So you're going to have to fill a scoring void. J.J. Redick could be on the move too. So I think Derrick Rose in Philadelphia is certainly a good fit. He's a guy that proved last year that he could stay healthy in Minnesota. He can put up points. I mean, he had a 50-point game last year. It was kind of the Derrick Rose of 2008 that we saw before all the injuries in his MVP season. So I certainly think that there's a chance that he ends up there. It would be a good fit. And good for Derrick Rose, the guy who kind of everybody had written off and said, he's done, he's injury prone. And all of a sudden, he's getting another big contract because he put up the numbers last year and was consistent and stayed healthy. So good for Derrick Rose. You like to see a guy that, kind of, quote-unquote, lost everything there for a minute and then got it all back and proved that he still has it.
No, I absolutely 100% agree. Mo, let's talk about Johannes that name, yeah. He stays with the Grizzlies. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Valanciunas is a guy who, I think would.
So you make it sound so easy. You make it sound so easy. Go ahead.
He's a guy that definitely could help some NBA teams. He's a guy that is good for not only a starter but good for points off the bench on a contender. I don't know if the youth movement in Memphis will be enough to make him want to stay there, but there's definitely a lot of teams that are contending. I think that could definitely use him. The Raptors decided to make that move for Marc Gasol and move on from him, but I definitely he's a guy I would definitely like to have on my team if I'm trying to compete for a championship. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's some exciting stuff going on down in Memphis with these young guys. They're obviously a ways away, but it's definitely going to be an exciting team to watch down there. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do.
Tony, does Kelly Oubre Jr. stay with the Suns?
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy that you think about, when we talked about the Pacers getting those C and D and E list talent, Oubre can score. He's fast. He's a high flyer, but he's very inconsistent. I think he stays in Phoenix. I think he proved to them that he can score points. He needed out of Washington when that trade happened because I don't think it was working between him and Bradley Beal and John Wall.